us now to review the papers are the theologian Vicky Beeching and the deputy editor of the Daily Express, Mick Booker. Welcome to you again. Michael, we're going to start with the Times front page. And this is the story about government reconsidering their thoughts on raising the speed limit to 80.
No, I understand the government is saying that it's not a priority at the moment. They've taken a slight point with the Times splash this morning. However, it was announced with a big fanfare a couple of years ago, saying that they were going to up the limit to 80 mile an hour, and it seemed to be received quite warmly by everyone because everyone said, well, we all kind of do 80 mile an hour on the motorway anyway. But then there was the worries that then that means everyone will then do 90. Now, the interesting point to it is the headline and a couple of the details saying that it's they're worrying about alienating female voters, which I don't quite get. This seems to come simply from a survey of 13,000 drivers conducted for the AA, which found that 41% of women drivers think that the limit should remain at 70 mile an hour, which suggests that there's over 50% that either want it to go up or they're not quite sure. So I'm not sure 41% of women drivers thinking that the limit should remain at 70 should particularly stop them, all that. And why that would then turn into, you know, an election where all these women decide not to vote for the coalition simply because the speed limit went up to 80 mile an hour. So it just seems a very strange argument, and I don't know why. I don't know why certain women would be so upset at driving at 80 mile an hour.
There's something nice about feeling like the government's listening to you, but it's worse if you feel like you're being sort of patronised somehow. And it does feel a bit patronising, like they're saying, we're doing this for you, only if you look at the figures, like you say, it's not really actually true. And I mean, I don't know about you, but I quite like going fast in my cars.
I've sat around the cabinet.
Most people do. Within the legal limits.
Bless them, they can't press
Within
the accelerator
of course.
They've got them lovely heels on, they can't do the accelerator properly. Maybe they're thinking...
Michael,
That's what they're saying, not me.
It does portray women as a bit wimpy, though, and sort of wanting to just be very, very careful.
Or just slightly more concerned about safety.
Or maybe.
Well, maybe there is something in it, because we've had those insurance companies that give women a better rate because we are allegedly safer drivers.
Well, that's
my husband might
as well.
Yeah, they just stopped that. I was really disappointed.
Let's have a look at the Mirror now. And this story, I did titter initially, but it's actually quite serious. This is the mother who posed as her daughter to take an exam for her and got caught.
Yes, this happened in France, and I love the opening paragraph. It says that the mum donned skinny jeans and Converse trainers so that she thought she looked like a teenager.
Yeah, but she's 52.
Well, she's 52. And apparently it wouldn't be unusual for someone of 52 to be in that room because people of all ages are taking this baccalaureate. But unfortunately, the examiner had actually seen the actual daughter a week before when the 19-year-old took the exam previous to this one. And so they knew that the mother was not the daughter.
Revising's stressful, though, so it could have taken a toll on her looks.
Maybe it could have aged her. But unfortunately, they've actually charged her with fraud, fined her with £7,000 fine, and the worst part of all is her daughter's actually probably going to be banned from all public exams for 5 years, which is going to really mess up her education.
Yes.
And you need the back if you're going to get on in French society at all. I mean, it's a requirement. You can't just say, oh, I left school at 16 and struggle and strive. If you want to get
really sad.
Well, the other thing is to look saucy and join the cabinet. That seems to be the other way of getting on it.
But in trying to help her daughter, she's actually probably spoilt her future. So,
I know, it's really sad, isn't it? My mum's an English teacher, and I can imagine wanting to sneak her in my place for like a GCSE when I was younger.
Oh, you did very well anyway, Vicky.
It's just so sad that this girl's going to do so badly out of it.
Let's have a look at the Mail, and Michael, tell us why the police are being paid to watch Big Brother. Yeah,
it's a quirky one, this one. Last week, Dan Neil, who was one of the detectives in Operation Newtree, the Jimmy Savile operation, he quit the Metropolitan Police and then he went into Big Brother, which started last week. Now, the interesting thing is the Metropolitan Police didn't know about this particularly before it happened. They were a bit worried. They were worried that he's going to start spilling secrets, although I don't know why he would particularly want to do that on television. And Channel 5, who screen it, said, well, it's impossible for him to do that. Despite all that, the police, and this exclusive from Stephen Wright, they've got this round-the-clock operation monitoring the programme, and they're doing it over the next 2 months. Incredibly, it says, the force is offering an inducement to watch Big Brother this weekend. They've been given less than 15 days' notice to work on a rostered rest day, so they'll get time and a half overtime. They're also entitled to a 10% bonus for hours worked between 8 a.m. and 6 a.m. So they're monitoring the Twitter feed. It's not on live 24 hours a day anyway, but they're looking at the Twitter feed.
Yeah, I'm feeling sorry for the police. They have time and a half to watch Big Brother. That doesn't sound anywhere near enough.
So I think you're right.
I mean, it says in there that it's quite traumatic for the victims, though, and I mean, I think within the story there is possibly a bit of a nasty twist. I mean, if you're someone who has poured out their heart, like this interview says, you know, to somebody, you've trusted them, and then suddenly they're on TV, and we all know what stupid things tend to happen on shows like that.
That doesn't get screened, does it? And it never
but
will get
I think
screened.
the question is what's being said to the other people in the house. Our confidence is being broken, and if you've gone through abuse and you've shared that story, I think there's a level of trust that maybe means you shouldn't be on a crazy show like Big Brother.
Maybe that is the key. Perhaps they shouldn't be on the show.
But he's not in the police anymore, so he can do what he likes.
Michael, say as you find. Michael and Vicky, thank you very much for the moment. We're going to take a break now. More papers next, including Sit Down and Sulk or Get Up and Go, a new study that defines who we really are. Welcome back. You're watching the paper review on Sunrise with the theologian Vicky Beeching and the deputy editor of the Daily Express, Michael Booker. And Vicky, we're coming to you first with the Times. And do we sit down and sulk or do we get up and go? Who are we?
Very interesting. This is a survey of Brits and Americans, and it's close to my heart because I lived in the States for 8 years, so I've kind of compared and contrasted both sides of the pond, and I don't think we'll be surprised about what's come out in these figures. Apparently, us Brits are more likely to be chilled out but downhearted, whereas Americans are more likely to be upbeat and optimistic. And we're much more private about our relationships. Americans are much more likely to kind of do an Oprah when it's, you know, times of stress or you're falling in love. You just want to tell everybody about everything. And we're more likely to be like Churchill.
But haven't the Brits changed in that respect? Because we are now more open on these revelatory programmes talking about personal lives.
Probably social media has changed us, and also I think an increased sort of awareness of American culture has changed us. I think our country's been very influenced by the States, and I think we're much more used now, like our generation as opposed to my parents would probably share a lot more, and then when I talk to my grandparents about things like my blog, they're just, you know, quite surprised about the kind of things I would put on there. So I do think as generations go down, probably through social media and you know, exposure to the States and their culture coming over here, we're loosening up a bit, man.
See, I've only ever spent 1 week in the States, and that was in Las Vegas. So I think my view of America
is not entirely typical.
Everyone was smiling. Most of us were drunk. It was, you know, we all put on about a stone. It was brilliant. What's not to like?
Not representative of America, I hope.
I think you need to visit some other states there, Michael. Now, we've got 1 minute left, 60 seconds to have a look at this tropical paradise in Yorkshire, which I'm extremely jealous of. I wish this was my back garden.
Well, you can do it. This is just, I think it's just a semi in Rounday in Leeds. Used to just have a lawn. All he had was a lawn when they moved in 25 years ago. He spent most of his life building it up. He said simple carpentry skills and just a bit of simple planting. And there you go, that's what he's got. He's got a jungle in his back garden, and that's in Leeds. Now, I lived in Leeds, and all I had about my back garden was the next door neighbour's broken toilet, which one day...
Oh, dear.
Well, no, the problem was it then led to a plague of blue bottles in my kitchen, which was one of the most terrifying things ever. And now I'm scared of flies. So
you're not going to be replicating
so that's
this anytime soon.
What were we saying about Brits not being able to open up?
Seriously, it's a lot of sharing. Well, I've killed every pot plant I've ever had, so I don't think this man's skills are simple at all. I think that's very complicated.
And he's opening up to the public this weekend, which is a recipe for disaster, if anything.
Oh, he doesn't want to do
I've
that.
ever heard one.
Keep it to yourself. It's a lovely garden. I wish it was mine. Thank you very much, Michael and Vicky. Thank you very much for joining us. And you can get a first look at tomorrow's papers this evening in our press preview with Alex Dean and Nikki Hodgson. That's at 10:30 this evening. At the moment now, we're going to have a look at the back pages